Good morning, everybody. Good morning, good morning, good morning. Who we got in here? How we doing? What's going on? The Shaolin. Is there a way to join the show to participate? Yes, sir. Most of our chat hangs out over on Twitch. Same. I think it's VDad's official on Twitch. Good morning, Ryan. Sorry, let me turn that off. So yeah, we're mostly on Twitch. In the that's where you'll find the other people in the comment. You'll be able to chat more with people. So come over here on Twitch, buddy. Morning, David. How you doing? Good morning. Good morning. What's up, Ryan? What's going on,
man? That's so weird. I can't even see those comments. Oh, good morning, Dom.
It's still there, dude. I can hear it. I can see it almost in your eyes and your cheeks too.
Like, you know, red. Like came back with a vengeance. But it's not like before. It was like intense headaches, and it was also like chills.
Mm-hmm.
Just the stuffiness.
Oh, no.
Also, I'm just not sleeping well right now, but it was because of this. So I just tried to do a 5-minute meditation, and I have to pee. Didn't really work.
That's why I like. Look, I'll tell you the secret. You're not gonna like it though. I'll tell you the secret. That's why I like meditating in the pool.
Okay. I didn't realize that was a life hack, but now we know.
You kill two birds with one stone, man. You're doing the cold plunge and you're meditating and you're peeing all at the same time. I guess that's 3 birds, but whatever.
Yeah, I like this. That's something I wouldn't have come up with on my own.
Oh, well, thanks for coming in. All stuffy, dude.
Poor guy. No worries. I absolutely hate it in this location right now. The music is so loud. It's shaking my face. And but like I've moved my practice into like, well, I know I moved it. I keep accepting like in-person people, so I have to be here, which is like here anyway. So anyway, neither here nor there. I'm not here to complain. That's not my goal.
Yeah, for sure.
What are we feeling? Are we feeling this background is not? Do you just not like this background, Dom?
Which one? Oh, maybe I didn't put it on. Sometimes it's already on. Sometimes it's already on, and sometimes it's not.
Yeah.
Some of the things I click, I don't see anything change, and so I'm mainly focused on the intro and the music, and then making sure that I'm muted while I'm rustling around in the background.
You've been killing it, man. Thank you so much. Starting to have some conversations, seeing if we can lighten the load on some of the podcasting back end stuff. You know what, Robbie has been incredible. Robbie set up some calls for me to have, trying to get in touch with another community member. Everyone knows him, but I'm going to wait until we have a conversation, see if we can get some support here. But it's a lot. Awesome. It's fun. It's like good takeaways. But anyway, again, not why we're here so much. Daily Dad, The Daily Dad by Ryan Holiday.
Yes,
we're talking love. It's February. It's Valentine's Day. Are you a Valentine's Day guy?
Sort of. Yeah, I was. It's funny enough. Like this year, we're gonna be taking a trip. I think we leave the day before Valentine's Day, so we won't actually be here. And Valentine's Day is Bentley's birthday. So
nice.
It got a little interesting 6 years ago when we had him. But before that, yeah, it was always my thing to um, surprise the girls because I now have my wife and my two daughters with a little Valentine's Day surprise. So like when they're all at work and school, I would sneak home, lay out, a little box of goodies and throw flower petals all over the ground, that kind of thing for them to come home to.
You.
Um, so this might be the first year that I have it that I won't be able to actually do it. Um, but yeah, it's all good. The grandparents will be here watching the kids. They already kind of know, what to do, so we'll leave them whatever we need to leave them, and they'll
Okay.
and they'll handle it for us.
Good stuff, man. I'm glad that that is. Oh wait. Oh, so you guys are leaving them home, is what you're saying? That you
Yeah,
and the
it's
wife.
an
Okay.
adults trip to Nashville, couples trip with a
Oh, you
friend of
mentioned
ours.
this. Yeah.
Yep.
All right. Well, good stuff.
But we're
It's on
doing
my mind.
Bentley's birthday this weekend, right? Legoland.
Okay. Ooh.
So
Oh yeah.
we'll,
You mentioned that. I took a look. I didn't realize like Legoland by you was like incredible. My goodness. If anyone hasn't seen Legoland around LA, my
yeah,
goodness.
it doesn't get as much love as Disneyland for sure, but it's a pretty sweet place.
I'm sure it's a good change up. I mean, not everyone needs to be seeing Disney all day, every day.
I mean,
So
to be fair, Disney is like the spot. Like if you're coming from like far away and have never been to like it's massive. It's got you know years, what is it, decades worth of stuff being added to it. So it is for sure very cool and a very good place to go. But yeah, if you can spare more time, like going to Legoland and Universal and then all the other places is a good time as well.
I'm seeing Universal down in Florida. Got a couch question. Just tossing the couch question. Let's tackle it. But I saw Universal, at least in Florida. I think is in Florida. I
Hmm.
think the one in Florida. I think that they're doing. It's like all Nintendo. Well, there's Super Nintendo World. It's like mixed up.
Yeah.
There's going to be Harry Potter. I think there's a Frankenstein like kind of horror area,
Yep.
and then they had like their own Epcot or like Magic Kingdom like spot that was a little bit more general. So, are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? Is this Rarity Dale showing up? Rarity Dale, where have you been?
He's
So good to
popped
see
in
you,
the
man.
last little bit. It's been good to see him for sure.
Awesome. So glad. Uh, Valentine's Day, I think, is a good time to kind of show our kids um, definitely how we can appreciate them. But a lot of conditions is what we are kind of discussing more. How can we make sure that we are not setting conditions, or do we set conditions? I don't know. It's up to you guys. But today
Yeah.
was a really good reading. It talked about, was it Lyndon Baines Johnson? I believe it was, right?
Hmm.
Lyndon Baines Johnson, uh, Democrat senator from Texas, right? Became president, had some sisters. Mom was a little bit tough on him in the sense that she put many conditions on what he did, how successful he was being. He had highlighted a moment where he was wearing a tank top and his nipples were showing, and he didn't really know. I'm just kidding. But he stopped playing the piano, and he said his mom stopped talking to him, and so she like walked around the house just pretending he wasn't there and like showing love to his sisters and not him. That's crazy. And
Yeah.
I've heard this before from people that some of their parents have done this, and it can be really debilitating. That's
I
tough.
got
So
a
that,
story. I got a story about that.
yeah, what's up?
Senior year, I played baseball my entire life, and I was really disenchanted with baseball my senior year. And my protest was quitting baseball and joining the ultimate frisbee team instead. And I ended up joining back like 2 weeks later, but I don't think Dad talked to me for that entire 2 weeks. That was a story that came to mind this morning as I was reading this.
Yeah, that's a good story. I think the preface: my dad played baseball in college. He loved baseball. I think, I don't know. I never heard him say he loved baseball, but I'm going to assume he did. And if I think back to our childhood, I always loved this. And now I'm thinking, like, how did he do that mentally and physically? But he would get home from work and we'd run to the backyard and we'd pitch, right? We would always end up pitching. We had a little mound, and
Hmm.
Dad would play catcher. We would end up pitching, just throw balls, and it was just like that to me was definitely childhood. And thinking back on it, I'm like, oh wow, that was that's a lot. And my dad also coached me in soccer, and my dad was very plugged in. I think in with us athletically, and so I think Jason was probably the one that was playing baseball that my dad probably saw as kind of projecting on your life a little bit, right? Would you agree?
Yeah, he never forced it. He wasn't he what's the way I would put it? He was never like the alpha dad that was like all or nothing. He was like, I had this talent, so he helped me grow it. Um, but I never felt like I had to play. It was just something we did. We played sports. That's what we did. Um, I don't think that's any different than like many other people. But I never felt like it was. I never felt like he was living vicariously through us. Maybe he was, because maybe that's what dads do. But
I'm
he
gonna
was.
have to say, I'm gonna have to stop you and say, yes. I think all parents live somewhat vicariously through their kids, for better or worse.
I would say in the way that where it's like it's more for the parent than the kid. I never felt like that.
Oh, okay, yeah, sure. But the conditions you felt, there was that time where he wasn't talking. He was like, "Oh, my son is a ultimate frisbee player. He's gonna be LARPing soon." Um, but no, I think our dad was just really good at he was just good at things like pool, darts, frisbee. Like he'd pull out like these like crazy things. But anyway, neither here nor
Foosball.
there.
Don't forget foosball.
Foosball. Um, but those conditions are tough, right? I also stopped playing baseball. I switched over to lacrosse. Dom, anything sports wise or any conditions that were ever placed on you felt that your parents had?
I mean, I've talked about it. I've talked about it a little bit. Like my dad always seemed to just be adamant against like the way that my mom was raising us. And so, going over to his house always felt, like our lifestyle was being attacked in a way.
Oh,
So
sure.
it was just never like, I mean, it was an okay time. There were plenty of good times. Unfortunately, he reminds me now to this day, and I'm starting to see a little bit, but of it, but like, I definitely think I grew up like holding in the negative towards him and holding more of the positive towards my mom.
Mm.
And he was more negative, but he wasn't like completely negative. Like, like it wasn't like we hated going over there or anything like that. And it wasn't like court mandated like visits or anything like that. So it was just a random schedule, and like it was for the most part it was up to us like if we wanted to go over there. Like I don't feel we were never forced or anything like that. It just they're just like little comments, like the divorce wasn't, a good one, and their relationship was, never a great one.
How old were you when your parents divorced?
Like 3 or 4.
Yeah.
Yeah. So divorced, and then my mom moved away. Like we were born and they got married in Arizona, and then she moved to California, and then he followed shortly after. And he was for the most part always close by, and we saw him all the time. And I just remember there being a lot of comments, and then a lot of like, you should do this, like, anything that I was wanting to do, like to go towards the reading, like didn't seem good enough. It seemed like he would always wanted me to do something different, like eat better, get stronger, play football, or not quit baseball. go into the military, read about finances, like stop doing this, stop doing that. Like it was more authoritative parenting than anything.
Hmm.
So it just wasn't my thing.
Yeah, I'm sure. Did you consciously know that, or did you feel as if it just didn't feel right?
Um, I think it was just as I got older, like in the teenage years, I think it was like maybe where he was stepping it up a little bit and it's obvious, right? Like to me now, it's like he was stepping it up in those years because it was only a couple more years till I went off on my own and started my adult life. So like
Hmm.
I could see it and I can understand it now, looking at it from the other side and trying to like take into account like the situation of like divorced parents, where like he wants to be involved but like can't, like he had his own things that he had to deal with. So, and I know my mom, like she's not like the easiest person to get along with. So I'm sure it wasn't for a lack of like trying or effort or want on his part to have a better co-parenting relationship. But honestly, I think back in the day, like that wasn't a term, like
Hmm.
co-parenting. It was just like you're divorced, and like if you didn't get a court settlement, then like okay, that's good. Like like if you didn't get like court visitation, like 1 week there, 1 week there, then yeah, it was just up to the other parent.
Yeah.
And then it's obviously easier to just keep kids at one house, instead of having a disruptive schedule, especially when he would be a couple towns over. So like it wouldn't make much sense for us to wake up on a school day and have to drive like, 30, 40 minutes in LA to get to school as opposed to like 3 minutes and walk. So a lot of circumstances.
Yeah, that has to be. I think divorce itself, obviously, is its own topic there. I did want to. I know, David, you mentioned here, and I think this is important too. I think a lot of coaches can end up being seen as a take a parent, father figure role, whatever's going on. But yeah, I think coaches can definitely have a very similar type of energy, especially when they aren't respecting you and your move. I know that when I stopped playing baseball, I had a friend, Mike Tridenti, and his dad always coached me, and I stopped playing baseball, and he kind of stopped talking to me too. I remember that feeling. Um, but yeah, that is. I think we kind of forget about some of those role models there.
So how are you guys making sure your kids know that they're enough?
I have three thoughts, but Jason, what are your thoughts there?
I was kind of in between thoughts. I would say to a kid, I guess the reaction of a parent to something, or maybe even a coach or any other kind of mentor or role model.
Yeah.
I guess the reaction is most important. And I think it's okay to be disappointed, and it's okay to voice that, but you don't change your behavior or how you treat them any less, I would say. It's unfinished. There's another half to that somewhere. Um,
Here
My
are here are three questions I thought that I just found. I wish I could kind of break these up a little bit. Uh, but three questions that I just saw about how you can kind of question it and then um, kind of go with it.
yeah.
Three questions here, Tom. I know I cut you off here, but do you or do we praise only accomplishments and not the effort? That's one. I think was a good question. Two, do we react with disappointment when kids quit something or change interests? And then three, do we compare them to others, siblings, classmates, ourselves at their age? And I think that's probably where a lot of parents are too. It's hard. To compartmentalize kind of like yourself as a parent and then also kids. I know that can be a little bit difficult, but I think those are good questions to ask.
I think maybe the age is a good starting point. It's like my baseball quitting story. In retrospect, yes, it did seem very counterintuitive to quit something that I worked my entire life. And I can understand my dad's point of view because he was a big part of it, and he did encourage that, and he was a major part of why I found success with it. So I get the disappointment for sure. I would say I don't know if there's another way that I would want him to react. I think I think that was a valid reaction to a high school boy. And on the other hand, a counterpoint is like my daughter Kira. She's the past few years she's like gone through activities where it's like she really liked it and then didn't like it. So obviously, like there's been no buy-in, but the question is, okay, what's next, right? Or at the very least, if it's something that we've invested money in, like she was in martial arts for a hot second, that there was a decent financial buy-in. It was like, well, you got to finish this. You can't just quit now because we bought all this stuff for you. But I think maybe a good way to look at it is like guiding them to the next decision, or what are you going to do in the meantime, or how are you going to fill your time, or how are you going to what skill you going to develop now.
I like David over here being very introspective here. I think kind of trying to understand why they're doing something. I think that's huge, right? Why did you quit, or what's going on? I think this goes back to me in terms of thinking. Some kids don't even know why; it just doesn't feel right. Maybe, who knows? I also like how Dale goes a little bit here. He says it's not hard to be it's hard not to be disappointed when you see the great potential of someone and then they kind of quit, right? So Jason, I know that you quit baseball, went into soccer. I think that people at some point are thinking,
no, I didn't go to soccer. I went to ultimate frisbee.
Yeah, but you went to college and you played
soccer. I was really good at. Like, I could throw it really far. It was like reverse pitching.
Yeah,
I mean,
you tell ourselves.
Fialo summed it all up, though. Like he summed up the whole chat right there.
I feel like I was trying to get to that one and be like, yeah, there it is. You just did it. So that's a good one. Here, I found a question. Where was this? You can always find these things, and I'm curious what you guys and Couch, you always have great feedback on this. I'm gonna pop it in here. So I think this is a good one. Because I found another question too, but it's kind of what we've been talking about so far. But here's the question, because I think this is something that is, I think, relevant to how we may think, right? I want my kids to feel unconditionally loved, but I also want to teach them accountability and discipline, right? So that's kind of tough. It's like, are they quitting because they don't want to be accountable? They can't be accountable, or they're not disciplined? And should I force them to kind of show them discipline and accountability? But how do I balance showing them they are enough while still setting expectations? I think it's a good one. What do you guys think?
I don't know. My thing with like, so we're going on like sports and activities right now because that's like the most obvious thing that kids do and then quit. And so my thing has always been like, I don't think that, it's just like in parenting in general, like in raising kids, there's no right answer. And the being in like this community and seeing all the people that I'm talking to, like I'd rather my kids just experience everything. I'd rather them do it for a little bit more amount of time than they usually do it for, like the doing it for like 1 month or 3 months kind of just doesn't seem like enough. Like if they could do things for 6 months or a year, that probably be my preference. But I want them to experience everything because I think that it's just such a small chance that you're going to play one thing or be interested in one thing forever or for a
Yeah.
really long time. And if you don't if you do that, like if you are that 1%, there's still a very likely chance that by the time you get to like 30, 40, whatever, that you all of a sudden realize like, oh crap, I've just been doing this one thing my entire life. Now what? And
Hmm.
then you kind of see those types of people like wake up a little lost maybe, especially if it's like if we're talking about sports players, especially if it ends in like a traumatic injury that they just can't play that thing anymore and their life gets taken out from under them. So I'd rather just have my kids go through everything and especially in those early years of life, and then maybe settle on something, one or two things, like in the high school range. I realize that like the grind right now is like parents and put their kids in this stuff like real early, and the best kids are going to be the ones that just grind out one sport day in and day out from the day they can walk, and that's that elite level competition sports. But yeah, I'm not there for that. So I'd rather just have my kids experience everything and try my best to not be disappointed when they change it up, and like say like, look, that season of playing soccer was a lot of fun. Let's see what you want to do next. Let's do basketball. Let's do art. Let's do rock climbing. All that stuff.
I think I would definitely. I'm gonna keep this short because I want to make sure we can get to the couch stuff over here. You guys are putting fire in the chat right now. Thank
Oh
you so
damn.
much for being so tapped in here. Uh, my quick thought on this was if someone if someone is is being reactive to their child saying they don't want to play or quitting something, and now your worry is accountability and discipline. I'm thinking this, and this is just coming with a thought, not as much of a like I do this all the time well, but I'm thinking that there are boundaries missing. I think that there is a conversation beforehand missing as well to say, hey, you know what, the season is this long. You know what, let's make sure that we commit to this season no matter what actually happens. But let's talk after and make sure that we understand, that we're going to be on the same page. I think that if we react, so quickly, and we're thinking, okay, well, there's no accountability and discipline, then that's on the parent. To be honest, I would say that's how you're feeling. The kid should kind of own that. Sheldon, you mentioned kind of living vicariously through your sons here, their responses, their choices. However, if we separate our emotions and our plan, dads can keep ourselves accountable by being a balance of support and reason. It's it's also how they respond and taking the time to hold space and provide perspective. So it's a learning experience. Yeah, I think that if I think quitting something or moving on to something else, those are big emotions for a kid. If we're not really supporting them in the moment, we're not teaching them how to kind of take on these kind of feelings and emotions there.
I think that was one of Dad's better lessons is level-headedness. Like with whatever success we found, like he definitely showed us, when he was proud of us. But I remember one thing that he always said was, "You're only as good as your last game." It doesn't matter like how good you are, like the next game could go terribly. And that kind of plays into Shaolin's point of um, being a balance of support and reason. It's like you're not going to have an awesome game every time. And like a losing season or a bad game, that can knock a kid off the base for sure. But there's always another game, and there's always going to be things you can do to get better. And that's kind of what stuck with me. Not necessarily the baseball really, but I've since moved on from all that, but all those lessons stick around. It's like, even with like teaching, it's like I've had a good few weeks. Yesterday went less than stellar, and just like sports, you're only as good as your last day of teaching or whatever it is you decide to get in on.
Man, really sports heavy. What are we not thinking of right now? I feel like there's got to be other things in terms of conditions.
Paying taxes, you're only as good as last year's paying taxes.
You're only as good as the last piece of art you made.
Could be that.
The last cup of coffee you brewed.
Well, guys, we're at the top of the hour. Why don't we sign off with just some gratitude, though? Little round the table, guys. Share some gratitude. What do you have right now? I think just pausing and kind of reflecting on where we may be unintentionally sending the right messages, the wrong messages, kind of here, or maybe you have a gratitude that's not connected with today. What are you guys feeling?
Mine's yesterday because today hasn't started, but I got a lot of work done, got home early. My mother-in-law was out here already. She took the younger kids to Chick-fil-A and Target, and my wife and I got to spend some time hanging out in the jacuzzi. Some good conversations. So
Dom is in that jacuzzi more than I think I take showers.
yeah, almost every day, buddy.
Jason, what do you got for gratitude over there?
We had parent-teacher conferences last night. A long night for me, but I also get to go to my daughter's parent-teacher conference with Kristen, and we got a really good report. And Akira is doing phenomenal, and we're just really happy that the teachers report that she is a positive entity in the room. So,
awesome. Hey, did you have to be the teacher in a conference with your wife about your daughter? Would that ever happen?
Well, yes, technically it could, but it's like we talk about things anyway. But it's like I work with Kira's teachers, so it's like it's nice to like take off the teacher hat and walk into a room and just be a parent.
Yeah.
And get their point of view. So very thankful
That's
for
awesome.
all of Kira's teachers. If any of you are listening, you guys are awesome. I don't know if they're.
Well, I'll tell you what, I'm extremely grateful to know that my role as godfather to Kira has made her everything that she is today. So thank you to me. I'm happy that I exist. And
literally all the teachers in the conference mentioned the Godfather.
Teachers and Godfather.
Oh no, Rarity Dale. Aren't we abolishing the IRS? What's going to happen with this? We can't make him. They're not going to be there.
And the Department of Education. So it's all good stuff. All great stuff this month. It's great.
We'll see how it goes. Great chat today, guys. I've been liking this month. I don't know. Am I going to hate this month in the last week again? It feels like that. I feel like I got 3 weeks for me.
It's a short month, remember?
Yeah, you're right. It drags on.
Dylan,
but no, it's
how
good.
you doing, buddy? Dylan's been in the background lurking.
I absolutely love lurkers. We need lurkers. We need people observing in the background. Those are the best people. So
I love lurkers with the last name of Turner. They're the best.
Lurking Turners.
I wonder if Dad ever watches. We should see sometime. Maybe he will. Anyway, guys, that's it for today. Good stuff. We hope. Just remember, it's almost Valentine's Day. So if anyone is thinking about doing something, do it now. Get it done. buy some flowers now. Don't freeze them, but make them stay longer. So there it is. We got our outro. We're out. Love you guys. Be well.
See you guys. Good day, everyone.